My name's Sibella. I own a shop in Paddington called The Society Inc., which is a small part of my business. I mainly design bars and restaurants and hotels and come from an interior styling background, as well as writing books and designing product ranges from paint to decorative hardware, clothing and everything in between. I mean, I've always been interested in museums from a young age. My mother always took me to them, but definitely the last sort of 15, 20 years, that's been a little bit more fine-tuned in my understanding of the history of museums, and a real fascination with the Royal Society and Charles Darwin, which sparked off a history degree at Sydney Uni, and then visiting museums all over the world. I definitely have a criteria for objects and even people that I'm attracted to. I tend to collect both objects and people, and particularly for objects, there has to be an aesthetic and something that might be a little bit unusual about them that's just different from the run-of-the-mill, which is where the people come in. When we first went through the back vaults of the museum at a very fast pace, there was things that stood out for me, and it's going back to that either natural or handmade or handcrafted. To be thoughtful and considerate in how you look at things, and not just having, and whether it's them having a personal story attached to them, or the find, or why you really like something, I think is ultimately cool. You're distinctively attracted to the same things all the time, and I've noticed that more and more, and whether it's a colour or a different department, or I don't know, it might be shape. There's all sorts of things that people constantly refer to. I just wrote a book called Bowerbird, which was a collection of collections, of my collections, and I edited it down to 50 from about 500. So I had a real experience of looking at what I was attracted to. But even when I'm coming up with my colour palettes, I will more often than not look at flowers, or how the colours on a leaf or a tree, and also how birds look and what colour feathers they have in one bird. I mean, if you look at a parrot and see what colour combinations you are in there, it's quite complex and often unexpected. And that whole idea of the cabinet of curiosity is constantly sparking my curiosity of what kind of social changes that were happening at the time, and from there saw a lot of change in exploration and what treasures people were bringing back from overseas, which sparked the general public's interest. You know, the first time they'd seen a pineapple, or first time that someone saw a platypus, or all these sorts of things, and these massive collections started from all over the world. Well, I like to delve into what happened in the past and when museums became museums, but because before they were institutions, they were private museums, and there was a real cross between art and science. And I think there's a casualness that the museums need to approach nowadays, that's more interactive, where people can come and hang out and have more of an experience. When I first saw a piece in the Cultural and History department that I instantly thought was so reflective of what I like to look at, I almost thought it might be a little bit boring and I should find something else and do a little bit more research, but I just couldn't get it out of my head. And I'm curious to see if other people, the other curators, thought the same way as well. I suppose I'm really curious about things, and there was a time of curiosity and discovery. I think I am forever discovering things. It might be why I travel so extensively as well.